Hey, Eric Music here. Welcome to the Subscription Box Show. And if you enjoy this podcast or it has even helped your business in any way, then I'd ask you to please consider supporting the show by visiting the subscriptionboxshow.locals.com. Any dollar amount would be a blessing to us. Thank you so much for considering. Anyways, yeah, man, other than that, things are good. Like, it's a crazy cold winter here. We got a ton of snow, and it's snowing again, of course. I've got this massive outdoor hockey rink, and it's like I'm always shoveling for the kids. So yeah, but it's fun. Like, winters are fun here, but there's a ton of snow this year. There's always lots of snow, but this year's like really a lot. Business is good. We're always trying to find ways to get more cash in so we can, put more towards ads more and more, but it's a slow when you're bootstrap, you know how it is. Like, it's slow, right? Like, we're thinking of like, is there ways to get money, outside money, just to like blow this thing up? But it's tough. Like, if you're doing it the way we're doing it, you got to just like incrementally, very slowly kind of.
Yeah. That's exactly where we are now as well, to be honest with you. After a while, you just like, there's two things you can do with your subscription box business. Like, either you make a gigantic profit and you're like a solopreneur, right? And you get to 1,000 or 2 subscribers and you clear, $100,000 profit a year, and you just run it at that. Or if you're going to build a brand and actually try and scale it up to thousands of subscribers, it's not easy to do the first thing either, right? Because the profit margin is not easy to achieve, right? So, but with us, like, you can't work miracles. We're looking at it going, we kind of have our marketing down. Our CAC is around a certain range. Customers are staying for this long. We just need to get twice the amount of customers we're getting every single day, and there's no other way around it. There's no more miracles. Like, we're just out now fundraising. We're hoping to get between €500,000 and €2 million in the next couple of months. Talking to a few VCs, talking to angels. So we're confident enough we'll get at least 500. But talking to the VCs now, they're talking maybe going bigger, because we have a competitor in the UK called Woof Woof, who actually has raised like over $1 million pretty recently. Like, and we're kind of starting to get a bit worried that we're going to be basically left behind. So it's just kind of a safe situation where you're not going to work miracles forever. You just get the money and then put the money into ads and actually grow the business and go from there. Like, obviously it's important for us. What's changed in the last like 6 months is we're not giving discounts anymore, which has really helped to reduce our churn, reduce the amount of people that are kind of complaining and canceling. But then the other side of it is when you're not giving a big discount, the CPA is higher. So you need more cash again. So it's really just come to the realization that if we keep going on this path, the metrics would be good, the sales would be good, the profit would be good, but we need a lot of cash. So just let's get the cash instead of just trying to, you can tear your hair out trying to figure out tricks. And there is some stuff you can do. Like, we have upfronts. So like, basically someone comes in on a monthly payment. We have a post-purchase upsell that says, hey, want to sign up for a year or 6 and save an additional X amount, 10%. And then they basically click yes, and they're charged for the full year. Now, that's good for cash flow. It's something you might want to try, but you need to be careful, because once you start doing it, you can never stop, because you're carrying those. You're obviously spending that money on ads straight away,
right?
And you're carrying a percentage of people every year, like for a year, without getting any revenue from them. So that's something we figured out. BarkBox do it, and we did it. And then just post-purchase upsells, which is something you can give, straight after someone signs up, like an add-on or one-off product, stuff like that. And it might not make a massive difference, but over time, if you're getting a few sales here and there, especially if it's stock you already have lying around, that's another thing you can do. But really, they're small things. Really, the answer is just go and find the money. We did crowdfunding, and then obviously
and I wonder how many businesses. Like, I'm glad we're just getting into it, because this is kind of the new way the show's doing. By the way, the last time we came on, there's kind of like these intros and all these different things. We're just gonna get right into it here, and which is cool. So I mean, welcome back. I guess I should introduce you again here. I've still got to get used to the way the new format's rolling here. Of course, this is Gary Redmond. Of course, you know this because you read this before you clicked on the YouTube channel or on the Spotify or iTunes. But Gary Redmond is the co-founder at Busterbox, and he's been on the show before. I forget the episode number you were on. Was it 101? Yeah. Okay. 101. Yeah. Where he talked about email marketing, and things have changed since then. He's launched some programs since then. So we're going to talk about all that stuff, but let's just maybe just continue kind of in a direction. It's like, I know a lot of people, you mentioned, at some point, just got to go out and find the money. I think that's where, we're still trying to scrape and scratch and claw our way, like as a bootstrap company, which is, it's very doable, but it's challenging, right? Like with everything going, like with what's happened, especially in the last year with like all the costs of paid advertising going through the roof with these different algorithm changes. I think just a lot of people I'm talking to, they are seeing better results now this time of year with their ads. And I think Liam was one of them saying it again as well.
Yeah.
Liam, of course, being one of the co-founders with you at Busterbox. And
Yeah.
but at some point, yeah, I agree. I think, we're just trying to wait. So I don't know if you want to talk about the VC route. Um, for people who don't know, like venture capital route, like people, what does that look like? How did you guys start even considering that? When did you consider that? And then, because it's not your first time, right? You guys have had a round before where you've raised money, right?
Crowdfunding. We did crowdfunding before. Yeah. I mean,
Crowdfunding. Okay. You want to talk
it,
about that maybe first?
yeah, like, so crowdfunding is probably, so before you're starting to raise any money, you need to sort of validate your business. So it's not something you should really be looking to do until you're about a year or 2 years in business, because you're not going to get anybody to basically believe that you're able to do anything. If you got 6 subscribers and you launched 2 months ago, nobody's going to give you any money anytime soon. So,
Yeah.
a lot of people that I talk to and help and stuff like that, it is sort of people at that very, very early level. But there are some people who kind of, and that's the thing, that's still the transition that I'm going through as a business owner now, is when when you're first launch your subscription box, really the challenge is getting anybody signed up. Okay. Like, you kind of get, you're figuring out marketing. How do I get sales? How do I, optimize my website? How do I do email marketing? How do I do ads? And that takes a long time. That takes a long time to figure all that out. But then the second phase is kind of more, like your metrics. Like, so it really does, you're trying to get into the metrics of the business. Okay, so what exactly am I spending for a customer? What profit am I making from them? And learning all that is kind of, in my opinion, phase two. You're kind of figuring out the numbers behind the business, and obviously reducing your CAC, trying to reduce your churn, you're optimizing your product, and then you get when you get to that level, kind of like where we are now, you kind of land on a CPA, or you're going to be paying, and you're going to be landing on a churn rate, a lifetime value, and then the next part then is like, actually scaling the thing up. Okay, so that's going to be team members, funding, all that sort of stuff, and you kind of go, you're kind of trying to step up above the level of getting involved in the day-to-day marketing and being involved in actually the numbers of the business. How many people can we sign up? What's the cash flow going to look like? How can we affect things in the business? How can we maybe go for longer without getting cash? And then really the funding part of it is kind of where we are now. We did a small crowd fund last year, and again, crowdfunding is good. Probably something you're not going to do in the first couple of years. And the good thing about it is, if you have a decent sized brand, and you can get a few people in. So the thing with crowdfunding is you want to make sure you have at least 50% of the money secured before you go on the platform, which is something we didn't do. We got very lucky, but normally 9 times out of 10, you probably won't hit your target if you're going on. It's all FOMO. Everything in investment is FOMO, right?
So what do you mean by that? Like you're kind of like rigging it to look like, half. Let's say you have a goal of $100,000, you have $50,000 in there, so it looks like it's already raised that much. People jump on it. They don't see that, oh, it's at $500. I'm not jumping onto this project. Is that what you mean?
Exactly. That's exactly what I mean. Yeah. So fear of missing out. It's the same on a smaller scale, even with bigger investors and bigger amounts. If you can say people, we're raising 2 million, we have 1.5 million, there's a bit of space left. If you want to hop in, immediately they're going to say, well, 1.5 million, which means X amount of people already believe in you. There's something I must, be paying attention to. It's the same as everything. Social proof.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Just the crowdfunding route is good. It's probably good if you, how do I say this? You won't get as sophisticated people who will actually be tearing your business apart. If you have a decent brand and you can tell a good story, and you're having trouble raising money from traditional investors, which is basically all the things we had, crowdfunding can be a good route, because you can essentially tell your story. And if you have a big following of people on social media or your email list or customers, you can encourage them to invest too. But still, you want to try and convince at least one investor to give you a good chunk of your money, 20 to 30% of it, before you do crowdfunding.
Interesting. Is there a platform you liked working with when it comes to crowdfunding, and is there minimums that people would have to consider?
I don't think there's minimums in terms of the amount you want to raise, but I mean, business-wise, you probably want to make sure you're raising enough money to give you 6 to 12 months of runway, and also, include capacity to increase your spend and grow your business. So really, if you're raising money, you want to be, depending on the size of your business, you want to be 100 grand, very minimum. I mean, how long can you go with any less than that,
Yeah.
And then, obviously up to whatever amount you need. So platforms, we use one in Ireland called Spark Crowdfunding, but there's probably loads of different ones in the US and the UK. There's
Spark, you said?
Spark, yeah. that's in Ireland. So probably not a lot of not a lot of your listeners are in Ireland, but or certainly don't have a subscription box in Ireland. But yeah, there's loads of ones out there. Just do a quick Google search, and they're all happy to help you.
Interesting. I love that. Yeah, I'm not too sure about Spark. Like I know with Clear Angel, which is a program here through Clearbank, right? They were on like Michelle Romanoff from Dragon's Den, like the Canadian Dragon's Den. She might even be on a different Dragon's Den. Is she on the UK Dragon's Den or no?
Not sure. We have an Irish one that we were on a few years ago. But
yeah, I know I heard that's a cool story too in itself. That's another way too, just to get, if worst case, if you don't get the offer, if you can just make the TV show, like just to get some recognition. I know Janelle Peterson here, she's from Calgary, Alberta, up here in Canada, and she was able to get on there as well, and I'm sure it's done wonders for her business. I actually haven't connected with her since. We'll have to maybe get her back for a post Dragon's Den show wrap up. But yeah, 6 to 12 months of runway, that's a good point, because I think you want to kind of really set up yourself to for success. And there's probably some things you should also have, like you said, just a couple of years in business, let alone you're going to have some subscribers, hopefully, but you're also going to have probably your website and your whole email marketing, your whole systems, your operations probably a lot more tuned in and dialed in, which you should have, right? Like, as opposed to if you're just starting out and you're trying to get people to invest in your company, you might unfortunately waste it. There's some things that have to be in place, I think. Does that make sense, right? Like,
yeah, and it's that you need to prove. It's weird. You need to prove that you can do it before you have the money, before anyone will give you the money. Because look at it from the yeah, like, and that's this catch-22 that we have to deal with. It's like, you give us the money and we'll do it, and they're like, well, why don't you do it a little bit and then show us you can do it without the money? It's catch-22.
It's so tough.
I mean, to fill out that gap, I mean, that's where crowdfunding, debt, things like that, to actually get you some runway in your business, because going even off monthly cash flows, that's something we haven't even done for a very long time either. Like, we've gotten debt, we've gotten obviously the crowdfunding. It's impossible to run on the skin of your teeth all the time. You need to have a little bit of pool of cash there to kind of experiment, to try and increase the subscribers and actually grow the business. And then
yeah, that's such a good point. I think that's how we feel lately. Like, we're always like by the skin of your teeth. That's a good point. Like, I think that's kind of like how we feel as a bootstrap company. It's like, my goodness, like, you're always just trying to figure out, scratching and clawing to get some positive cash flow to reinsert into the business. And there's just not enough left over from like the slight margins there already is. And if you're starting out, when you're fairly small, as we still are, it's tough, because you need to grow. It's a numbers game when it comes to subscriptions, right? With the margins, you guys know this. Like, your boxes aren't that expensive, so there's cost to doing business, and so you need the numbers to make things work. But it's tough to get those numbers without the cash. So it's kind of like, when people say subscription boxes are hard, and we're not talking about this to discourage anyone. It's just, it is. And that's actually should be motivational to you, because anything that's a little bit harder than is usually a good way. Because if you can persevere through it, not many people, how does that work? Get to the top, if that makes sense. But those who do is because they persevered through. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Let's put it that way, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people underestimate, that includes me and probably you, underestimate how difficult the business is. Not just this business, but any business. But this business obviously has some, and same with everything, right? There's checks and balances. You've got recurring revenue. You've got the fact that you get a customer and they pay you more than once. And that's obviously better in many ways than having a straight e-commerce store, and because of that recurring revenue element. But then on the flip side of that, you've got the higher cost per acquisition than it would be if you're just selling one-off product. Then obviously you have the fulfillment side of things. So yeah, there's checks and balances, but really, yeah, it's very difficult. There obviously are ways you can make things easier for yourself, and that's just part of learning and getting better and getting longer in business and longer running a business like this. But yeah, the first couple of years are tough. It's just about trying to validate the product, trying to get sales, even if you're maybe not the most profitable company. If you can show people or investors or even a banker, like banks and stuff will want to see some, if you're getting a bank loan, obviously be careful whatever risk you're taking on. But we got debt as well, but even banks, they want to see some of your traction as well. Even though you're paying the money back, they don't want to give it to a business that's only open 6 months and is going to lose their money straight away. So yeah, it's just in the start, you just need to sort of persevere. I think as well. Like, we had a lot of challenges. People think, I talk to people now, and it might be hard for them to imagine that we started with 0 subscribers. Like, it's easy to throw out a number, 10,000 subscribers now, but we didn't start there. We started at 0 like everybody else, and our goal for the first one was like 300 subscribers, and we got something like 12. So, it wasn't exactly an easy road, and it never is. So, people need to remember that everybody starts at 0.
Yeah, everyone does start. And if you're looking for like just for organic ways to grow, if you're that new person just starting and this is way beyond your comprehension with like looking at crowdfunding or VCs, like there's like you said, like there's different, we all have different stages of where we are in our business. But there's an episode 207 I did with Julie Ball talking about organic growth for 2022. So go back and listen to episode 207 if you haven't. And if you have any questions on that, feel free to comment in the locals community. And I should mention that for those of you guys, like you probably heard it in the intro, if you have not checked out locals yet, check out locals.com. More specifically, go to the subscription box show.locals.com. And what you're going to see there is a cool community of like-minded people like Gary that is there. And we appreciate Gary as well as a supporter as well, which is really cool. So thanks, Gary, for that, by the way. But yeah, we're going to it's a cool community. It's kind of a new platform. Think of Patreon. I don't know. It's like, tomato. I had to pick a platform, and I kind of like the way locals format was looking like. So yeah, check out locals. We always talk about stuff there, and you can post questions there. And you're going to have exclusive content, that sort of stuff. So not to keep plugging that, but it's just it's a really fun way that's where I'm going to be hanging out a lot more, less in Facebook groups. Unfortunately, I'm still going to, popping in on the Facebook group, but I've talked to this on previous, actually Gary, on previous interviews recently that I'm doing. I'm trying to figure out if I want to stay on social media or not, or is it Facebook or is it Meta, the metaverse? What is it called now? Because every time I go to my WhatsApp, it's going, it's powered by Meta. What is that? Yeah. Do you have any insights on that? What does that mean? Or
Liam and Paul actually recently got these the VR headsets. They said it's crazy, the metaverse. They're playing golf with people. Yeah. You can go on. You can sit in like in a theater and watch a movie with like a lot of people wearing VR headsets.
No kidding.
Yeah, they both got them. Yeah, I'm actually they're trying to convince me to get one as well. But I don't know. Facebook is Facebook, really. Who knows what they're going to do next? But the metaverse seems like a cool concept. They're obviously betting big on it. They lost something like 30 billion or something last quarter or last year investing in it. So
no kidding, eh? Shoot. Well, so we're not doing this episode for Facebook ads. That's going to be for Liam in a couple of weeks when we sit down with Liam coming back to the show again, which is going to be fun. But we're going to talk maybe about some email marketing, and I know that's what's going to be probably in the title of the episode. I'm sure we're going to be touching a lot on email. That's kind of like your deal at Busterbox, right, Gary? Like you've become the email marketing guy. You're the one who takes care of that. Maybe, just tell us about what you do at Busterbox. And if that's not the only thing you do, just tell me about, for those who have never heard you before.
Yeah, no, that's the main job I have in Busterbox. Obviously, email collection, and then the automation side of things, making sure that we have the correct customer journeys for new customers, for new leads. Obviously, people who visit the website and drop off, we want to automatically send them back over. And really just building that entire system so that it's automated, so you don't have to put so much effort into email marketing. It shouldn't be something that actually costs you a lot of effort. It should be kind of, a lot of it can be automated, and you should be focusing your efforts on increasing your traffic. But when you have email marketing set up, it actually improves the quality and the results from your ads and everything like that. So yeah, I set all that up in Busterbox. Other than that, kind of just going back to what we talked about, I'm involved in most of the fundraising, speaking to investors, preparing the pitches, financials, all that sort of thing. So they're my two kind of main things I do in Busterbox every day.
Right on. Yeah, and for those who are watching this on YouTube, I apologize. Like I was watching myself, and it's one of those things I got to correct myself. I was looking at myself. I'm such a rookie on camera. Like I got obviously no training for this, right? But my eyes, I'm always drinking my coffee, or my eyes are darting everywhere. Like I got a huge picture window here, and I see the snow falling, or if there's a cat running around, or there's a kid playing outside. Like my eyes keep darting around. So I apologize. I'm going to try to get better to just like look at the person, and that's why I've teed it off in other interviews as well. Like my goal for this is to eventually have in-person interviews again, like have enough supporters and have enough advertising on the show that it grows enough where we can fly people in, or I can fly out to interview people in person, because I think there's something cool about what we're doing. We can see each other, but it'd be a lot better if we were sitting next to each other, sipping on a coffee or having a pint, rather than maybe smoking a cigar or whatever, rather than having to talk. It's what is the time? It's almost 11 o'clock here in the morning. So for you, it's probably almost 5 o'clock. Is that correct?
5 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, different times, different, you're probably tired. You want to finish up your day here. And here, yeah, I'm just getting started, full of coffee. Yeah. Woo.
Yeah.
So anyways, apologize for those. I'm going to try to keep my eyes from darting around on the YouTube channel. But yeah, let's, before we kind of go into the email side of things, because I know that's what you're doing. And I got some more questions just from the side of like the VC or even the crowdfunding. So for someone like myself who's never went the crowdfunding route, I kind of have an idea, generic idea. I probably should know more about it because it's actually something we might have to eventually do this year. But how does that work? So people, let's say you're asking for 100,000, I'll try to put in 50,000. That's kind of the plan, right? And if you don't have that, is that something you should try to go secure with just one person if it's not your own money, just like with one investor first, like someone that's super serious, they put in that money? And how does it work with the payback for them? Is it something you guarantee everyone to get a percentage, or they have a piece of your company equity wise? How does that work?
Yeah. So, I mean, look, if we definitely got lucky by not having we just went on, we talked to the platform that you go with will normally have some big fish that they will sort of pre-shop your pitch to before you go on, and then through them we got some commitments up to about sort of 20%, maybe 30% of what we wanted. Really, if you can speak to an investor and actually get a good 20-30% of what you want through them, then you're going to the platform, they can get you maybe another 10 or 20%. Like, so it's not always about getting 50% from one person. Maybe you get 10% from three people, and then you go to the platform, you say I have 30,000, or if you want 100,000, obviously multiply it out if you're going for more. But basically, it is important to speak to somebody or have some sort of money before you go on. Now, that, as I said, they can be found through the network of the platform or through people or friends of friends. So that's the first thing you want to kind of do. You can go without it. It's just much more risky. We had our campaign. It was like a week to go, and we were short 80,000. And somebody just came in and put in 80,000, and we just got completely so lucky. Like, it was just the most ridiculous thing ever. It was literally we tried to get 150, and we were on like whatever 69 or 67,000, and it was like a week to go out of 30 days, and it was looking a bit ropey, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom, we came on, 80,000 went in, we're at 147. Then we ended up, because we were so close to our funding goal, we ended up going to 167,000. So more people invested once they saw that, number one, we were funded and that the campaign was almost closing. So if somebody is lying around with 80,000, you might get lucky like we did, but really it could have gone the other way just as quickly, and we wouldn't have hit the funding goal. And if you don't hit the goal, I'm pretty sure you don't get any money. The money is refunded to the people who pledged. So yeah, very, very important to do that first. In terms of the return for the investors, they're basically making a bet. They're making a bet that your business is going to be worth more than it is today. So like, we took an investment at 1 million valuation, and then we ended up going for another round last year, and with a 2 million valuation. So everybody's initial investment was worth double what they put in, minus the dilution, because obviously as more people invest, they'll be diluted a little bit. Don't want to overcomplicate things. But then, you go on, you increase your subscribers, you grow your business, and you end up getting another round, or you sell the business at 10 million. So the person who put in 100 grand at 1 million valuation now gets 1 million back. So they made 10x their money. That's basically how it works. Now, obviously, the business has to have a liquidity event, which is like an IPO or a sale, most likely to be a sale. So you basically sell your business to maybe another business, a big competitor. In our case, when someone like Barkbox decides to come to the UK and Ireland, they buy us out because they don't want to compete with us, and they buy us out at whatever 10 million. The person who invested then before gets a return in cash, hopefully. So yeah, that's kind of generally how it works. You don't really want to structure it where you have to pay any dividends or royalties. Depending on, again, investors might want to protect themselves. So depending on the riskiness of your investment and on your business, they might say, I want $1 back out of every box. Not something that I would recommend anybody do, but again, depends how badly you need the money, and depends how, what kind of interest you're getting, so.
Yeah, those are more like you would see, like almost like a Dragon's Den deal, right? Where it's like, they'll take a certain percentage until their investment money is initially put in, and then maybe they'll go with just a straight up royalty or whatever. But yeah, so for example, that person who put in $80,000, he doesn't see money until you guys sell.
No, yeah. So he owns equity in the company, and it's increasing in value as fingers crossed as things go well. But obviously he's taking the risk then that things don't go well, that could decrease in value.
Yeah, but that's what their risk is as an investor. That's up to
Yeah.
them to do their homework, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. So I got a pretty good grasp on that. That's interesting. Okay, so I think that's all I had for questions when it comes to. I think I maybe had another one, but if it comes back to me, we'll revisit it. Okay, so email marketing. So you're in charge of doing that. You're finding VCs. Actually, you know what? I do have another question then. So when you're looking for, when it comes to VCs, which is a little bit different, what do you start looking for that? Is there like a website you like to look through? Is there a company and
Um,
agencies?
Basically, you're not going to really get too far unless you have an intro to a VC. And that's something we've learned by going out, reaching out, cold on LinkedIn or sending cold emails. You're pretty much not going to get anywhere. What you need to do is you need to talk to, in Ireland, they have like, there's I don't know, like a founders forum, you might call it, or they have sort of business. They have like government agencies who have lists of angel investors, and they have like equity advisory clinics. So you can basically book an appointment with somebody, usually at like an experienced entrepreneur who's through the journey before, and they will kind of hop on a call and explain the options to you. So really, you need to kind of, and again, it depends on your network. If you know people already who know people who have perhaps high net worth, then that's great. That's the best place to go. But really, you kind of want to you want to be introduced to a VC. You're not really going to get anywhere by reaching out directly. Now, again, everything is with a pinch of salt. It might be different in the US or Canada or whatever. But yeah, that's how we found that when you get an introduction, and obviously the difficulty then is, who do I find to introduce me? So go to business founder forums, business advice, local government. They all have some sort of business advice to help new entrepreneurs, and then do a bit of networking, and you should get some information there.
Yeah, good old fashioned fashion networking too, right? Like just trying to get yourself involved in groups, like you're saying, like and be involved in these kind of business type of forums, or now that things are opening up in parts of the world, go to conferences and just shake some hands. And I think you're going to start meeting people. Yeah, those are good. Those are good tips for sure. I think it's one of those things. Yeah, because a warm intro, especially to something like a VC, like they want to know that there's something serious. It's not just some company that's putting on a lipstick on a pig kind of a thing, right? Like it looks good, but there's some stuff there. Okay.
I think as well, like there's definitely levels. So like as I mentioned before, like it's probably way over the head of a lot of people who are listening here now. So even talking to a VC, you really need to be doing over 2 million in sales. And like if you want to go on crowdfunding, you probably want to be, doing a good bit of revenue, like at least 10 to 20,000 recurring revenue a month. So that would be 240 a year if you're doing 20,000. That's kind of shows a little bit of sort of traction. But when you're going to a VC, a small amount of traction, unless it's a super sexy business, it's some SaaS product that everybody needs, but it's not really going to be the case for most subscription boxes. You have a luxury product that people will subscribe to because you can make it better than going to a shop or to a store, right? So that's kind of where you really want to be. So with VCs, you need to really be doing at least a couple of million in sales before they look at you. From my opinion, from our experience. So again, it's all about getting to those levels and actually just slowly and incrementally improving your business and increasing your subscribers and getting there.
Yeah, which is the hard part for sure. Okay, let's get into emails. Like last time we talked, you guys were with Active Campaign. Funny story, we were actually looking at going to Active Campaign after our last conversation, and then we ended up trying out this agency for marketing that had everything included. They had their own email, like CRM. They had everything kind of built in. So we went with them for a 6-month trial. Long story short, didn't work out. We decided to kind of like just go back to doing things more on our own, just because I thought like they were overall a good company, but they weren't like, jack of all trades, masters of none kind of a thing. I think we could get more traction doing our own emails, with Christine back doing that, myself doing the Facebook ads again, and, just kind of like bringing it all back in-house for now. That being said, we've decided, so we had Klaviyo when we last spoke, and we went with their system. We're going to go back to Klaviyo, and then I'm like, you know what, let's revisit Active Campaign. And so my wife's literally, as we're recording this, in the process of switching over. So it's right now, it's Tuesday, February 15th, right? One day after Valentine's Day. And on Thursday, she has her final meeting with Active Campaign, because they have this kind of cool onboarding process where they do like, I don't know, I think it was maybe 3 meetings with a certain person and then another 3 meetings with another expert at Active Campaign to get everything set up and rolled over with your existing email list and everything. So long story short, Thursday will be the official launch date with us going full out with Active Campaign. So we're super excited about that. So all that to say, are you still with Active Campaign?
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know about that onboarding. I'm actually gonna take that down because that's pretty good, pretty helpful. And we're still with
It's
Active Campaign.
massive. Like that's an understatement, to be quite honest. Like it was like I wish Christine could pop in here and just talk about it, because yeah, maybe I will, like, yell her in here, flag her in, because it's one of those things where I don't think she would have switched over, because it's like a whole new platform. She was already comfortable with Klaviyo. She knew the platform. It would have been just as simple, right? But we want to really give this a shot because she does have access to your course, and knowing you and what you do with Active Campaign, which we'll talk about your courses and everything else as we go through this conversation. But yeah, write it down and I'll see if she if I can grab her attention. The door's closed. I don't want to yell in the mic, but maybe I'll mute my mic and I'll yell her in here. Yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, we're very happy with Active Campaign. Obviously, we've been using it for a long time. We first started off with MailChimp, which I'm sure a lot of people start with. And they're great at getting people in when you're just getting started, because they have the free version, right? And that's what attracts everybody. You don't want to be paying an unnecessary subscription when you've got 2 subscribers and you just launched 2 months ago. Like they're great for that place in the market. I got talking to somebody, we're in business about 1.5 years, 2 years, and he's mentioned Active Campaign, and it's just like you said, right? It's whatever one you're comfortable with. And pretty much in my 2 recommendations, my 1 recommendation is Active Campaign. People always say they prefer Klaviyo, which is fine. My opinion on Klaviyo is that for what we have, the amount of subscribers we have, it would be pretty much double the price for us to use Klaviyo, because we still use Active Campaign Lite. And also a lot of the features in Klaviyo are great if you have like an online shop, which you have 25 or 250 different products, and you can do some cool things inside the emails. But for most subscription boxes, you're just going to have your box, right? Different variations of it, of course, but really a lot of the features in there are unnecessary, and then you're probably paying for those features unless you're using Active Campaign, the higher plans. But we don't even use the higher plans, so we can get, trust me, if we can get hundreds of subscribers per month from email from Active Campaign Lite, it has everything you need. And just the way it suits my eye, they have the automations laid out in the flow builder is just very clear, very simple. And I obviously know how to use it. Obviously, I've been using it for a long time, and I've figured out crazy segmentation you can do and making sure everybody's going into the right place. So I do have some clients that I work with who use Klaviyo as well. So I know kind of how it works, but yeah, it's really apples and oranges when you get to a certain stage. They're both very good, but I just find Active Campaign is easier a little bit for me to use, and yeah, it's less expensive for me.
Yeah, as Liam would say, fair play. I mean, we use Klaviyo or Klaviyo. I don't know how you guys what the proper pronunciation is, whatever. But she loved it. Like there was nothing wrong with it, but she did find that a little bit more now that she's moved over and she's going through 5 of the 6 onboarding calls or whatever. And what I'll do is what we'll do is at the end of this conversation, there's always the post show wrap up, Q&As, those sorts of things for the supporters only. And what I'll do is I'll have Christine come on and she can talk about the experience maybe of what that looks like. But essentially just the 5, she's got a pretty good grasp on it so far. She says it's actually easier to use. And it's so much clearer now with this crazy onboarding thing that they're doing. Like I don't know why she has it, if it has to do with the reason because we're switching or whatever, but same thing. I think it's less expensive for us to go with Active Campaign than it would be with Klaviyo, because of like every time your subscribers go up, there's like this crazy jumps and stuff. So yeah, all to say, so far so good. So do you have a relationship with Active Campaign then, like some kind of affiliate, like, or no?
Yeah, I have an affiliate link, but I'm not really I'm not really in bed with them at all. Like I'm just a customer really. I just made an affiliate link just for inside my course and stuff. But I don't really have any sort of preferential relationship with them. I just obviously recommend it inside my course and have a link with there. So yeah, like it is. I think it's easier to use. I think it's just easier to segment people. It's clearer a little bit. And as I said to you, some of the features in Klaviyo I don't need anyway. So that's kind of just my opinion on it.
Yeah. And for our business, Christine does the email stuff. So it really is foreign to me. Like she should be the one interviewing you, because she would have some pretty good insights on what the type of people that do the emails. And if you're an entrepreneur listening and you do everything, well, you'll have to learn the email side of things, because it is cheaper. Once you get your email list building, you do, for one, own that. And two, to retarget your email list is a lot more profitable than to try to do it through, paid advertising. I mean, every time there's like Q4 and just, seasonal sales, whether it's Valentine's Day we just had, or it's St. Patrick's Day coming up next month, the email list is a fantastic way to get some cash flow, which we're talking about, to kick in. So let's maybe talk about just like your email list and what you guys do with the email list outside of just like collecting. So we'll talk about like collecting emails maybe, but maybe is there something, just like an overall approach that people should know about when it comes to email marketing and just collecting emails?
Yes, exactly. So the overall approach is basically you need to get serious about collecting email addresses on your website. Okay. So we don't spend any time doing blog articles or SEO or anything. Like, it's something that definitely is valuable, but where you are in your business, probably as a solo founder and just trying to, you want to make sales for your subscription box. And if you don't make any sales, then you don't make any money, right? So what you want to do is you want to make it really easy for people to join your email list on your website. Now, what we have is we have a sign up form, which is like a little sign up survey. Now, that's something you're going to have to get built right now, by a developer. I'm actually working with a developer on getting an app created, which I can link back with you in later to make it easier for you to actually make these forms. But essentially, if you have a pop-up, it's better than nothing. If you have, for example, an exit intent, which comes up when people try to exit your website, that's also good. You want to make sure that you're capturing people who abandon the cart. Subly has an app for this. Shopify, Subly has it built in. Shopify has an app. WooCommerce, all these platforms have an app to capture people's emails. So anywhere a person enters their email address on your website, you want to make sure you're capturing it and keeping it. Okay. If you can get a sign-up flow built, great. If not, as I said, I'm going to have something coming soon, which is an app to do it for you. But until then, you have to get it built. But the sign-up flow is really what we found is to be super effective, because people enter a couple of pieces of information about themselves, and then you ask for their email. So it gets a couple of micro commitments from them, and then they give you their email. It makes sense to them to give you their email. So in our case, we ask, what's your dog's name? What's your dog's breed? And if you ask that information, then after their email, they're more likely to give it, because they've kind of already gone down the process of signing up and filling out the survey. So
hey, do you want to, because this is going to be also on YouTube, for those who want to like see what it looks like, do you want to share your screen? I have allowed it, if you want to share your screen, just to show like the busterbox.com. And if you're just listening to this and you have you don't have access to YouTube for whatever reason, you can just kind of do the same thing. Just go to busterbox.com on your phone while you're listening, and you'll be able to see what Gary's going to bring us through here as we're doing this. But I think it's fun to see how you can have that, because we've done the same thing with our website, and that's probably how we get them. That's what we get for sure. The majority of our emails is actually building in. So what he's saying is just simply, and it can be quite simple, like simply building in the email flow. You're collecting an email within the subscription flow of your website. So here he is on the website. Yeah.
They come to their website, they click claim offer, and then like instead of having to go to like a store website, where all your different subscriptions are laid out and it doesn't really convert that well, you basically simplify the sign up process. You ask them some information about their dog, and what's your dog's name? Let's say Jack. What size? And you just basically enter that information. They click next.
Little questions, little micro commitments, right?
Yeah. And these are easy questions. The first question should always be easy. What's your name? What's your dog's name? What's your child's name? Don't ask them something complicated. That's something that everybody's going to know within 2 seconds of looking at it, or half a second. What's your dog's size? In our case, you could be, in your case, is this for you or for a gift? Something like that. It's different for every business, the questions you want to ask. But you basically ask these couple of questions. Then on the fourth step, after we ask them, we ask them their dog's name, their dog's size, and their dog's birthday and breed. Then we ask them for their email. So let's say breed, Jack Russell, birthday month, January. Now we ask for their email. So by asking for it here, they've already gone and actually made some commitments to sign up, and they're much less likely to, some people do obviously, but they're less likely to drop off here, and they don't have a pop-up. Most people are just going to close a pop-up straight away.
That's right.
So, and then obviously they can choose their subscription here, and they can continue to sign up.
And I should mention too, on that other page you were just on, where you put your email, you also have a little box there that's automatically clicked on that they can unclick, right? But it's that's saying basically, I agree to these terms. And when they're putting their email, so you're not just going to be retargeting them, like now they're agreeing to retarget, but because they've already said yes, 3 or 4 times, they're already kind of in this flow of things. And I noticed at the top here, Gary, that you have these steps: step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, that get kind of like highlighted as they click on it.
Yeah.
I never noticed that before. Has that been there from the start? Is that fairly recent?
It's new enough, like in
Okay.
last few months. It's not that new, but
So
yeah.
I like it though. I noticed it right away, and I think it's something we're gonna maybe have to add now, because I think people are like, okay, how many questions is there? But now they can see, okay, I just got 2 more little steps here, and then boom, I'm in, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so email strategy, right? Like if you focus on making sure everybody who goes to your website has an opportunity, at least one opportunity to give you their email. We also have an exit intent pop-up. It's probably not coming up because I'm not in an incognito window, but if someone goes to exit and another pop-up comes there, and if they go to the cart and abandon, we capture them in Subly, right? So we've got the sign-up flow, we've got an exit intent pop-up, and we have abandoned carts. Obviously, the sign-up flow is the most effective, but we have multiple entry points into our email list from our website. That should be something everybody can do. Everybody listening to this now has a website at least. If you don't, maybe you're in pre-launch, fair enough. But if you're in it running your subscription box, you're sending traffic to a website. That website is your biggest asset to capture emails.
Okay? Yeah, and it should be noted too that people don't even get to see the plan to choose, like the options, the pricing options, until that email. So you have all these little micro questions, commandments. Then they put the email, and now you're showing them, you're asking them to choose their plan.
Yeah. So, I mean, people can get, what's it called? Sticker something, like a sticker. I can't remember the name, but like sticker fright, basically. They see the price and they go, oh, that's too expensive, and they run off. If you've gotten their email now, you've got them as a lead. Okay. So the worst thing though should happen when they go to your website. The best thing is they become a customer. The worst thing is they become a lead. Okay. That's what you should have set up, so that when you're sending traffic, you're getting sales and leads. So basically your leads are a byproduct of your sales. So people can leave now and decide they don't want to get it now, but you have the opportunity to send them emails now. Certainly you're going to have automations that are going to send them back over to convince them. Okay. So maybe this price is not so high when they've seen, your good reviews or the quality of your product or the quality of your offer, all that other information that basically is going to help them make a decision to buy. People can just get a fright straight away on the price, but actually when you have a chance to actually sell to them over email, that's when it actually is more and more effective. And remember, if someone is being sent to your website from Facebook, you're basically relying on Facebook finding the exact person that you need. You need to find the exact offer. You need to have the exact offer that the customer wants, but it also needs to be the exact right time. So someone needs to be ready right now to whip out their wallet and buy your box.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm not ready to buy a lot of stuff most of the day. Like, people are busy all the time. Their wallet could be upstairs. Their kids are crying beside them. They see the product. They see an ad on Facebook. They do want it. They are a potential customer, but it's just not the right time. So if you don't capture them as an email lead, you have no more chances of selling them. Okay. Of course, you can maybe retarget them on Facebook. That's costing you more money. But if you capture them as a lead, you can email them a million times unless they unsubscribe. You can email them over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So you're really taking away that time factor, because so many people are busy and they're not ready to buy. They get paid next week. If you're not capturing them as an email lead, then you're leaving like literally hundreds of thousands on the table.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you're putting ad money, you're getting some top of funnel stuff, but then you're going to be going more middle bottom when you get the emails. And that's why it's important to have it in there, because you're driving traffic to your site. You might as well take that traffic and get emails out of them. I don't know if there's a percentage. Do you know if you have a percentage of, let's say for every 100 people that go to your website, how many actually put in emails? You have kind of like
we get over 30%.
30%. There you go. That's huge. Like, so yeah. So Facebook ads are crapping out and they're not doing well. You're still getting emails that you can email market to. So all the power. You guys must have some jousting, paid ads versus email marketing, which is the best, or is it just a team effort between you and Liam when it comes to
between me, Liam, and Paul. Obviously Paul does most of the product stuff, but basically they're both equally as important, right? And Liam will say the same thing. You're not gonna run a business without having any traffic to your website. So all the email stuff doesn't work if there's nobody going to your website, okay? But your emails are basically giving us 40% extra sales. So if we were just using Facebook ads and it was just Liam doing his thing, then we would be basically paying 40% higher CPA, which basically makes the entire business not unprofitable. So if you're just running Facebook ads now, think about what would happen if you could get 40% more sales for the same ad cost. Then that's how important email is. So they're both equally important. They both work hand in hand and they don't work without each other. So that's pretty much what we found. Like, email has actually become more and more important in the last sort of year or so with iOS. mean, again, the majority, nearly all the traffic comes from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So that's obviously not something I'm going to say that is, obviously that's going to be very, very important. But in terms of conversions, our highest converting channel is our email list. Of course, the traffic comes from those places anyway. Yep. But again, it's 40% more sales for no extra ad spend.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it's interesting. Just a question on the pricing here. You see this kind of tiered pricing all the time, right? Like you want to make it as unattractive as possible to pick that 1 month option that they can cancel anytime, obviously, right? So that's like at £29. And then you have at £22 the 6 month, and then at £20, so $19.99. There's only a $2 difference there. Is there a reason? Is that kind of strategic, or is it something where you because of this only $2? Do you still have people still going to the 12 months, or is it mostly 6 months? And why not put the 6 months higher, I wonder?
Yeah, we're always experimenting with our prices. Really, we just want to keep it around sort of enough where we can make money, but also it's not going to drive higher churn. Okay, you can't just increase your prices as high as you want if you're selling things that are available online for less. Like we can't suddenly charge £50 for our products, unfortunately. So you need to kind of obviously be realistic in terms of how much you can charge, but also charge enough to make money, right? And it's something that maybe something we didn't do enough in the first few years of our business, and trying to be kind of competing on price, when really you need to have at least 40 to 50% profit margin in these businesses to get anywhere. So yeah, in terms of why we have, people do still choose a 12-month. Even people do want to save more money. And like the 6 month really is for people who are maybe unsure of whether they want to sign up. They'll go, I'll get it for 6 months.
I want the camera.
Yeah. And the 12-month really is people who probably have a good idea that they're going to love the product. They want to get it anyway. The minute they see it, they love it. And then they're going to think to themselves, well, why would I pay more when I love it anyway? I'm going to get it for a year, and I'm going to pay a lower price every month. So obviously it incentivizes people to choose those subscriptions.
Yeah. Talking about email segmenting for people that are in the 1 month, do you guys work hard on them to kind of convert those people through email to get to the 6 month? Hey, by the way, how did you love your first box? One of those things, right? Like after they received their box, maybe a week after, it's like, hey, by the way, if you loved your box, you can save money by switching blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. We do, but it's not the vast majority of people choose the other subscription. So it's not going to be a big driver of longer term subscriptions, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's not a big amount of people, because we obviously incentivize people to choose those other subscriptions. That's the one 95% of people go for.
Okay. So let's get into the email side of things. So you talk about segmenting lists and stuff, and I guess we can shut this screen off if you want there.
Yeah.
Here we go. So hope you guys enjoyed that, kind of see what the flow looks like. It's a pretty simple flow, right? To have people, if you imagine yourself going on there, if you're a dog lover in the UK, you can see yourself doing that, and all of a sudden, like, putting in your email. I wouldn't think twice, and then you keep on going, right? Boom. Now you've collected an email. So think about that for your own business. I know if you want to see ours, louisandleia.com, same thing. We kind of have the very similar, obviously different questions where it's for moms and babies, but very easy questions to answer. And that's worked wonders for us since we've implemented that. Thanks to Gary and his smarts that advised us to do something like that. So email flows, I mean, how many flows are people looking at here? How many segmentations are people looking at here? Is it, because it can be quite overwhelming, right?
Yeah, it shouldn't be. Okay. So if I could give people like 3 things they should be doing, right? It's number 1, optimize your website to convert. Okay. That's the most important thing you can do, because every other thing you do will work better if your website is optimized to convert. That comes from imagery, not too much copy, making sure your website is clear and actually a good offer, right? So that's something that everybody should be working on right now. The next is the email collection and segmentation. So obviously we showed you email collection. Segmentation is just separating people when they're a lead, when they're a customer, and when they're canceled, and then having different flows around those people. And I'm going to come back to that in a second, right? And then the final thing is driving traffic via ads. Now, the problem I see 95 times out of 100 is people declare their website done, they do nothing with email marketing, and they just go straight to running ads, and they don't work. And they blame Facebook, they blame the ads, they say it's too expensive, but their website is not optimized to convert, and they're doing nothing with email marketing. Those are the reasons why your ads are not working.
Yeah.
That's what I see 99 times out of 100. When I'm talking to somebody, they say, I'm having a problem in my business, I need some help to get more subscribers. I never look at their ads. Okay, I rarely look at their ads, right? always show me your website. And 95% of the work that they have to do is on their website and on their emails. And then if they can do those things, magically the ads work. Okay. So that's what I just kind of see so often is people are not doing the first two things and they're skipping right to ads and then they don't work basically. And it's same for us, right? So that's what I'd say in terms of the segmentation in step two of what, like, how do we make sure, because one thing you don't want to be doing is moving people between lists manually, like I used to do as well. Like, so it really, what you need to do is you need to set up a couple of automations. The first one is going to be when someone becomes a lead. Okay, so obviously they go to your website, they enter their email address on their, you know, on your flow or on your pop-ups or whatever. You want to send them 4 emails. Okay, we used to have more, but we looked at our competitors. And by the way, this is another big tip, is to look at what your competitors are doing and model what they do. So we were looking at BarkBox and other competitors. They only send 4 emails. And I'm presuming the thinking behind it is, and we kind of verified this with our own data, is send an email after 45 minutes and then one day. And basically, if they're going to buy, if they're ready to buy right now, they're going to buy in those 4 days. If they're not ready to buy right now, there's no more advantage to keep emailing them over and over again, but you can just add them to your email list, which you're going to be broadcasting to anyway. So that's the first one. Is I used to call
and
them
those separate. And those emails are pretty salesy. They're like, okay, if you're left something in your you know, your cart, or if they haven't left something in their cart, it might be something like, you know, hey, we saw you visited the site, blah blah blah. Is that yeah. Okay.
Yes, exactly. So they're going to be very hot sell. Again, look at what your competitors are doing. Okay, go to your competitors' websites, enter your email address, and drop off and see what they send you. That's pretty much what we did with BarkBox, and we essentially modeled what they did. Obviously, we have our own emails, our own imagery, our own offers, everything like that. So, you know, the emails themselves, those ones are going to be pretty hot sell. But look at what your competitors are doing. I keep saying it, but you'll get an idea if the biggest and best subscription boxes in your industry are doing something. It's not, you know, it's very, very advisable you just model what they do. Yeah. And yeah, like obviously imagery is a lot more important than emails, in my opinion. Like I used to have templates and stuff that I'd give to people, but really now it's just sort of, if you can make it more visual, if you can have better offers and make the product look good and sound good, obviously with social proof, your offer, and describing the product and how it's going to benefit people, they're really going to convert those people. And again, back to capturing, you have to make sure you're capturing them and there's a fresh supply of leads coming in. But then all of a sudden, once you're doing that, your abandoned cart sequence and your follow-up sequence for sales is going to work much better.
Yeah, you said something that's interesting, because you said there's 2 things that, you know, we look at, you know, 95% of the problem is maybe the website, the CRO. So that'll be for another episode. We'll cover CRO stuff, but conversion rate optimization, right? So making sure your website's ready to convert. I agree, by the way. Like, you know, I do some coaching, and all the time I'll just straight to this website. Let's have a look at what we're dealing with here. And it's like, it's not ready to convert. I'm sure people are, you know, they're bouncing almost immediately. It just doesn't look like it's ready and it's not viable. So that's good. That could be for another episode. But for the sake of what you said, you know, the other thing is that their email needs work. So what's the first thing you kind of see? What's a typical red flag when you're looking at people's emails and how they have it structured? That's like, is it just they're not emailing back? Is it that simple? Or they just don't have enough kind of like flow set in place structurally to attack all the points? Because there's a lot of attack points. And I don't know if that's the right term, attack, but yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no. So like in terms of sales, really, they're not, you know, most people are not collecting as many emails as they could be. That's the first thing. So as I mentioned, the multiple entry points in the list and making sure that you're making it easy for people to join the email list. That's the first thing. The second one is the automation, as I said, that one there, just sales automation, automatically sending people back over so that, you know, when you send traffic, you know, they're being sent back over there. So if they're ready to buy in the next few days, they're going to buy. Then after that, the campaigns. So we send 3 campaigns a week. So it's obviously, we're pretty aggressive with it, but the reason, like, you know, people might not want to do 3 campaigns. I would recommend you do 2, because reason we do 3 is every time we send an email, we get more sales. And again, we're in the sales business. We're not in the traffic business or anything like that, content business. We need to get people to sign up. Otherwise it was a wasted day. So send 1 to 2 emails a week, definitely at least 1, but I prefer to do 2. And essentially, again, you want to be keeping your emails fresh. You want to maybe have a new angle if you can, some new imagery. And this is not an easy process to continually do, but it really does make the difference to your subscribers and your actual results from email. So they're the kind of main things really in terms of sales. And then the other things, other benefits from email marketing is obviously when someone becomes a customer, you want to send them down a different journey. You want to get them excited for your box, tell them about the business itself, any rewards or perks they can get, how they can keep in touch, how they can leave you a positive review, and get them to post stuff on social media. And the final one then is if people cancel, you want to make sure that you're automatically capturing feedback from people. So using surveys with email marketing is a super powerful way to get a constant supply of data. Obviously, you don't have to keep making surveys and sending them out if you have them in an automation. So if someone is just cancelled, you can set up an automation to figure out why. And it's going to be really valuable information for you as a business owner to fix your product or your messaging or your website or whatever. And then also you can win them back. So as long as you have customer journeys for leads, customers, and cancelled customers, you're pretty much optimized.
Is there a time to use surveys outside of the cancellation? And do you guys do that outside of, like, let's say just a new product or whatever, like you're trying to, like, new offer and the other part to that question is, what do you guys use? Is it like just as simple as a Survey Monkey, or what do you get? Is there something built into Active Campaign?
We use Survey Monkey, yeah. It's the simplest one. There's no point in getting too complicated, really.
Yep.
Use the simplest one and just go from there.
Yeah.
So what are some other good ones, right? So when someone has just become a customer, ask them, who are they? Okay, and why did they sign up? So who are they is useful because you never know. You might think you know who your customers are, what demographics they are, but maybe it's not the parents buying, maybe it's the grandparents or the aunties or whatever, maybe it's not the dog owner, maybe it's a gift for someone else. So especially at the very start of your business, the more information you can get on who's actually buying from you, and also ask them, why did you buy? Because why did you buy is going to be a very, very good reason for you to know to improve your marketing.
Yes.
Okay, so brand new customers, send a survey out, demographics, and also why they bought from you. Another good one is if someone joins your email list from your website and doesn't buy in 30 days, send them an email and ask them why they didn't buy. Okay, that's going to go back to your conversion rate and see what objections people have and see, am I answering this question? Am I making it clear for people that this is something that if they're worried about, if this is stopping people from buying, I need to answer this question on my website so that the next person who sees it will buy.
Yeah, this is good, right? Like, I mean, isn't this something we think we should know, or we do know somehow, but we tend to forget, right? Like, in myself included, as I'm listening to this, I'm like, oh, this is so good. Like, but we're just so many things that we're doing, and you guys, I'm not saying you guys are lucky, like I'm not using air quotations here, but like that you guys, you just get to concentrate on the email. But for that person that might be, alone, let's say we'll invent someone here, Barbara in North Dakota, and she's trying to figure out her subscription box, and she's got all these different things to do. It can be overwhelming, right? So I think, I'm not using this as a sales pitch, but it's kind of like a good segue into, like, what are you doing these days with the course? Do you still have your course going? How is that rolling? I know you mentioned there's some new things coming out, so do you want to kind of touch on that? Because, and again, whether you take his course or not, it's not the point. It's just, it's an option for people who might need that help, because it is if it was for me, there's no way I could do the email marketing. Like, I'm blessed that Christine does the email stuff, but even her, she's, she's then getting these onboarding calls, and then she's going to be going back over the course again because it has the Active Campaign. So, if you don't have you're not too sure what email service to use, maybe consider something like Active Campaign after this conversation, or at least check it out. Again, we're only, and I say this full knowingly that we haven't even started technically using it until Thursday, because that's the last meeting, and then we're officially having it live with a bunch of new things that we're putting together that's hopefully going to kickstart some awesomeness to the 2022. But tell us about you. What's new with what's going on here?
Yeah. So I mean, the first part of your question obviously is time, right? And the best thing about email marketing is that honestly 90% of it, or at least 75 to 80% of it, can be automated. So all the stuff I've kind of mentioned, flows, surveys, all that stuff has been done by me about 3 years ago, and I don't even have to think about it. But I can go in and have those things, like, obviously the sales are coming in from email. We have survey responses. We have thousands of survey responses now from the people who've been through our obviously our flows and everything like that. So it is overwhelming if you start, if you don't know where to start.
It's the setting up. It's the setting up, right?
Really it's just setting it up. So it's just a system. So even in the mention of email capture, that's a system. It's not something that you have to do a million times. You need to do it once. You need to set everything up once, have it all there, and then really, even when you mentioned earlier on email marketing, like that is what I've done, but the majority of my time is not taken up by email marketing, which is great. It's completely automated, right? So the majority of my time is actually more on the financial side of things and other things with the business now, but the results still come. So that's the best thing, in my opinion, about the whole thing. And then obviously in my course and program, I show you how to do everything step by step. And one thing I got feedback from people at the start was, email marketing is kind of something we touched on as well. It doesn't operate in a silo. So what I show people, first of all, is actually how to optimize your website to convert, because without that, nothing will work. And then I show you all the email strategies, all the things you need to set up, and then to talk a little bit about driving traffic. Now, obviously, Liam is the man to talk to about that, but I do have some parts of my course that explain that, because it is a very important part, because nothing works in a silo. As I said, you have to have your website optimized, you have to have your emails flow set up, and you have to be able to drive traffic. Okay, so that's kind of everything I cover. And it kind of goes back to the step 1, 2, and 3 I mentioned before. So really, I find the more I've been doing the course, the more I've been helping people, learning from people have kind of really landed on those 3 things. And it's just over and over and over again. I keep seeing it. And it's great for me, because I can kind of see in my own head what step people are struggling with. And as I said, usually it's not advertising. It's not, it's a couple of steps previous. So that's everything inside the course. Obviously have a Facebook group with us, and we all help each other out in there. So you've seen the inside of it yourself, and I've been making updates to it based on feedback I'm getting from people. It's not something that's sort of, it's fluid, right? I learn more too. I learn new things in my business, and I add some things into the program, and give some more advice, create new videos and stuff like that. And also feedback from people. Someone said to me, this course is great, but how do I run traffic now? And it was like, well, yeah, I should tell you that, because that's not going to really help if you don't know how to do that either. So yeah, I think though, what is important about it is the system doesn't change, right? So when you learn the system, capturing emails, optimizing your website, and driving traffic, that's still what I do now. That's still what we do in Busterbox. The system doesn't change, but you get better at each step. So how do we make our website convert a bit better? How do we get more emails? How do we get more clicks to our emails? How do we get more clicks to our ads? So it's all the same thing. Once you know how to do it, you just get better at each step.
Love it. And you know what? Junard, our fantastic editor, Junard, he's going to be, can you plug in where to find this course? Is there a website you want to start out? And I'll get Junard, if you can put this on the screen here. So if those who are watching, you'll be able to see it.
So it's just launched yesterday, which is February 28th, and it's www.subscriptionboxemailsecrets.com. It's a really long URL. I apologize, but you can probably pop it in here in the podcast, and people will be able to see it. Yeah, so subscriptionboxemailsecrets.com.
Boom. So Junard, if you can put that on the screen for the YouTube. Yeah. So this is going to be airing March 1st, one day after the launch, or the relaunch. Is it a relaunch? Is it the right way to?
Yeah, it's a relaunch. So I've taken some more feedback from people over the last couple of months. I've closed it off, and I'm going to relaunch it now with some updated videos, and also some new content, some other automations that I've made, some pretty cool ones, like getting 5-star reviews on autopilot, and using email to upsell people to add more products to their box. Loads of different things, again, automated things you can do that actually improve the value of your business and improve the effectiveness of your marketing.
I love it. There's so many ways. Like, so for someone who's on already a platform, so actually before we talk about platforms again, like, it's something powerful, isn't it? Like, once you have all these things ready, or your site's ready to convert, it's optimized, you got your flows in place and you're set up that way, then it's actually very fun to go out and try to do your paid ads and your marketing. I think that's when it's like, it gets really exciting, because everything's in place. And I know sometimes you want to skip this whole stage. It's like, let's just go Facebook ads and let's just see some clicks and some subscribers, but just trust us, long term, you want to just kind of nail these fundamentals in place. And then you're just going to feel a lot more comfortable, but it's going to convert a lot better. Everything's just going to flow a lot better with all these little things right in place. And then you can go into your paid ads and market with confidence. And then there's really nothing else left in the offer. And that could be for, again, another episode. You need to have a sweet offer nowadays. I think everyone that we're talking to so far in 2022 that are nailing it on paid ads have some kick-ass offer. Like, they have some really good offer that's driving that thing. For you guys, it's the camera. Who did I talk to? John Roman is a tent, from Battlebox. Like, everyone has some crazy thing. So I think look at that later on. But the fundamentals first, get these things in place, then you'll feel confident going in. It's kind of cool that you actually touch on the CRO through your course now, which is awesome, because I thought it was just email for some reason. But there you go. There's killed two birds with one stone with.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Do you want to talk about price, or is that something? Is there some kind of like promo right now when the new relaunch, or?
Yeah, so I'm doing bonuses. I'm gonna hop on and do 6 weeks of live training with everybody.
Wow, right on.
Yeah, and also you get all my templates, everything you need, all the checklists, everything you need, all the automation maps, all that sort of stuff to kind of everything I've probably talked about today made people excited, but also really, really confused. So everything is done step by step. And you also get access to any previous trainings I do, and anything that comes out fresh. You'll also, it's lifetime access, and it's $997 US. I think there was another bonus, but I can't remember what it is. But yeah, you get access to the group. You get access to the private group.
The private mastermind.
As well as the 6 week call. So we'll hop on with you guys. I can look at your emails, your ads, your website, and basically give you live help as well. We'll do that for 6 weeks after the launch.
It's very powerful, you guys. Like, it's what it is. Like, if you're not grasping this, so you get the course that's on demand for a lifetime, right? Like lifetime access to the course where you can follow Gary's step-by-step way of doing these things. Because, again, I'm a salesperson when it comes to my subscription box, but when it comes to a course, I just put stuff on the show that's going to be of value to you. And I know this will. These things, for me, I would need the course. Maybe you need the course. And if you don't, great, figure it out on your own, whatever platform you're using. This is kind of like, if it's Klaviyo, if it's ActiveCampaign, if it's MailChimp, everyone has their strengths. We're not really promoting one more than the other than the fact that for this course, it's probably easier. I mean, Christine went through it with Klaviyo before. She just had to it took longer because she would have to look at the video, what you're doing with ActiveCampaign, and then she'd kind of try to figure out what that is on Klaviyo. So if you're indifferent, you just maybe consider ActiveCampaign for the sake of the course, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, you can use whatever email platform you want. Okay, everything in there, and I mentioned this multiple times in the videos. You might be using something slightly different. Of course, it's going to be easier slightly if you're using ActiveCampaign as I am, but they're all very similar. The platforms, as we said at the start, they do the same things. It's just about tailoring it for your own business. But the fundamentals of email design and creating things, and obviously conversion rate optimization, there's so much more than just email in it now that it's not really too important what platform you're using. Really, there's obviously marketing knowledge to take you from 0 subscribers to thousands of subscribers.
Right. Yeah. The knowledge is still there. Right on. Good point. Well, I'm glad you clarified that. And I would give them to say this, if you don't, so that alone is gold, worth the price of admission. I'm going to say this just because I've been on Liam's stuff before in his live calls. He does something similar with his course.
Yeah.
These live calls, guys, it's something where you literally have access to the creator of the course, Gary, an expert who's built this multi-million-dollar company. And he's going to go through your emails and your setup with you if you want to. Think about that. So you have not just someone from ActiveCampaign, you have the creator who's actually built the business and giving you his insights and how you can kind of tweak it and make it so it's going to have the kick-ass return that they're getting. So yeah, take that into consideration. If you want that, we're going to have the links in the show notes. I think that's it. So, and I don't know if there's anything else you want to cover, but there's going to be a post-show wrap-up for the supporters of the show. And in the post-show wrap-up, we're going to have some questions from the Facebook group. There's some questions that came in from, I know my wife has some questions, and I think we're going to bring her in to pop in as well. So you're going to get to meet Christine, and she's going to have some questions as she's going through the ActiveCampaign setup flow and those things. But also, I want you to talk about specifically if there's a secret or a trick in staying out of the damn spam folder, promotional filter, all these things that end up in, because we're emailing people and they're like, well, I never got your email. So that's going to be for supporters only. So if you're a supporter, head over to the post show wrap up and you guys get to listen to that. And if you're not a supporter, again, just go to the subscriptionboxshow.locals.com and you'll be able to be a supporter for as low as $5 a month. So if this show has helped you, please consider doing that. And if you just want to sign up for free and get some other cool stuff there, you can also do that as well. So yeah, so maybe Junard have that link there for the locals on the screen there for our YouTube viewers. And then I think, is there anything else you want to cover on this side of the show here, Gary?
No, we got a couple of questions on Facebook. We're going to answer those in the wrap up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for doing this, man. And we're we're gonna say goodbye to the Spotify, just the podcast listeners and the YouTube viewers, and we'll
Yeah.
see the supporters in the locals group. Cheers.
I'll just say one thing, that the
Yeah.
course is only going to be open for a short time. So subscriptionboxemailsecrets.com, and I'm only going to have 50 places open. So make sure if something you're interested in, hop on, because it won't be open for very long, because I have to dedicate so much of my own time and resources to help people. So definitely not something you don't want to delay.
Yeah, you hop on that right away, guys. There's no use thinking about it. It's a huge part of your business. You need to have this, cemented in there. That's why there's 3 founders at Busterbox, right? There's Paul, Liam, and Gary, and I just keep using them because it's like a perfect group. Like, you got one guy doing the marketing, you got the paid ads, you got one guy doing the email marketing, you got one guy doing kind of like the curation and the product side of things. So
Yeah.
It's a huge job. It's a full-time job in its own. So if you can get a little bit of help with it, or a lot of help in this case with the course and everything else that's with it, just take it. I mean, I always use the old adage, like, pay now or pay later. You're going to pay. So, I mean, at some point it's worth doing these things. Okay, cool. And I know you have some people have gone through your course before too. If they ever want questions, I'm sure they can reach out to those and see how they liked it and stuff, including Christine. So, okay, cool. We'll say goodbye for now. Thanks for doing this side of the show, and we'll see everyone else on the other side. Cheers.